momentum is your dating superpower. It will erase your inhibitions just as well as alcohol, plus you don't have to deal with all of the paying for alcohol, hangovers, all of the horrible decisions you make when you're drunk. Now, when you've been on a drunken night out, hopefully at some point you've realised that women like you a lot better when you don't have your inhibitions. Now all of a sudden you can unleash your charisma effortlessly. You can make those bold moves. You can make those jokes that maybe you were thinking about making. You can flirt shamelessly. All of these things. Problem is with drinking, it only lasts for a few hours, or until you have your next drink. Okay? With social momentum, you can unlock all of these superpowers that I just mentioned all of the time about having to get wasted. So what is social momentum? The best analogy that I like to use is the long jump. Yeah? So the reason that a long jumper takes a run up is so that he can build momentum to launch himself 18, 19 meters. Meanwhile, the guy trying to do a standing long jump, he can barely only get what, 2 or 3 meters? Same with socializing, it really is. Alright, if you've never done a cold approach before, or even not for a very long time, and then I point at like that group of 5 fucking supermodels, and 4 of them are with their boyfriends, but there's that one who's on her own, go and talk to them. Your brain's just gonna be like, and you're gonna find a reason. You're not gonna want to do it, and you're not gonna be able to do it to the best of your ability. However, if you're able to build yourself up with steps, social steps that you find more comfortable, which slowly get more intimidating, then by the end of the night out, you can actually approach those, supermodels behind the rope in VIP without even thinking about it. And that phrase is key, without even thinking about it. Because to build social momentum, the key thing you need to do is minimize time between interactions. You want to not give your brain time to make excuses to not talk to someone, or to go home, or that you suck. Okay? What I would suggest if I was trying to get you to learn social momentum, this is on a micro level, is to go and approach the first person that you see. First person, okay? And there is no goal of the interaction other than to say something and have them recognize your presence, right? You could ask for directions, you could ask for the time, you could tell them to have a great evening. That's it, that's a win for you. And after that, you need to go and find the next person. Minimize time between interactions as quickly as possible. Again, there's not a goal. Just be heard. That's your win. And again, the next person, the next. Now, what you'll find happens is naturally you'll begin to feel more comfortable staying in the interaction, being more expressive, flirting more, approaching people or groups of people that intimidate you more. Okay? Now, the reason that we have this initial anxiety, hesitance to approach people is that we think that something bad's going to happen if we go and talk to that girl, if we go and talk to that group of people. Right, that's where social anxiety pretty much stems from. The best way to get over these fears is to disprove them as quickly as possible. Like I said, don't give your brain time to talk you out of it. And again, and you're giving your brain all of this evidence that nothing bad happened, and then your brain, you get more and more confidence to act more and more like yourself, and then your charisma, your boldness, your flirtation just goes up until you're at like peak social momentum. And that's when the magic happens. That's when you can approach that group of super hot chicks and have them like you enough that perhaps you could even take them home that night. That is the power of social momentum on a micro level. Now, what about a macro level? Because that's important too. Here's the reality. Even if you do manage to go and pull that model looking gal from the nightclub, the next day, you're still going to find it just as difficult to approach that first person as you did the night before, right? However many approaches it took you to reach that peak social momentum, it will probably take you the same amount again. It's because overcoming social anxiety is a skill which you need to improve over time, just like any other skill, okay? Like learning the violin, to ride a bike, anything, okay? You can't expect to get good after one time, but if you practice again and again and again and again, then you build that social momentum on a macro level, and it gets easier. So maybe if you're a beginner to cold approaching women, it might take 10, 15, 20 approaches before you get comfortable and you reach that peak of social momentum. But you could get yourself to the point where you can shake off those social cobwebs after like one approach, if you build the social momentum on a macro level. Now, social scientists, they suggest that it takes between 28 to 30 days to make a new action into a habit which you do without resistance. Okay? If you go to the gym for 28 days in a row, we'll take a rest day, I guess, then you're going to stop feeling that resistance. It just becomes something you do now. So with that in mind, I would suggest everyone watching this video, they start themselves a 30-day challenge. Approach 2 women per day, flirt with them, tell them they're hot, ask for their number or Instagram. 2 women per day for 30 days. That will build up your macro social momentum and it will improve your results dramatically moving forward. Alright, so this peak of social momentum where you lose all your inhibitions and even lose your sense of self is often called flow state. Now, once you reach this flow state, you're going to lose all your inhibitions. It's going to feel amazing. It's very addictive, okay? This feeling is what gets people addicted to game, but it can be a slog to get there to the peak. So I'm going to end this video just by giving you a few tips so you can get to that peak of social momentum, to flow state a lot quicker. First tip I already mentioned, and that is to minimize time in between interactions. That is the best thing you can do to build momentum with anything. Okay, by definition, you need to keep going at a reasonable pace to build momentum with anything. Excuse me while I look down at my notes. Okay, this is an important tip. Always aim to give the person a good time when you're meeting them. Don't think about what you can take from them. Okay, like I said, your first goal is just to speak and be heard. But after that, your second goal is just to give them a good time. Okay? Now, when you do that, you're going to leave you're going to enter and leave the interactions with just like a better attitude. People are going to be more receptive to you, and you're going to be more open to go and speak to the next person. Also, on the off chance that anyone is watching you like spam approaching people, they're not going to be angry, because you're now just in this one mindset shift. You are now the social guy who's giving everyone a good time. You're not the spam approacher who's trying to pick someone up. Okay? So that's why that tip's very important. You have a look, what else did I write here? Don't judge yourself, okay? You're just there to give everyone a good time. Remember, your only win is to approach them and be heard. To do that, then it's a massive win for you. If they don't like you, they tell you to go away, that's on them, not you. So you have no reason to judge yourself. Well, I didn't even read that one. End each interaction on a high. again, even if they don't like you, you can still end an interaction with like a handshake or a funny joke about how they didn't want to talk to you. Or you can go like, oh, call me, like some funny joke that amuses you. You end the interaction on the high, you leave the interaction smiling, and then you're more inspired to go find that next person straight away. The first approach is the hardest. Always remember that. Okay, and that's even more reason to get it out of the way as soon as possible. The final tip is to push yourself. Now, a key ingredient you need to reach flow state is a good difficulty of what you're trying to achieve. Right, so a professional tennis player isn't going to reach flow state playing against a 9-year-old because it's too easy. The 9-year-old's not going to reach flow state either because it's too difficult. Right? You're not going to reach flow state by approaching a bunch of grannies and asking for the time again and again and again. Unlikely, right? So you want to look for interactions that are a little bit out of your comfort zone. They intimidate you a little bit, okay? And then when you do this, your comfort zone like expands naturally over time, and it becomes easier for you to approach these groups of people that you once found intimidating. That's it. I'm really passionate about social momentum. When you live your life and you're in social momentum, it's just so much breezier. You're not scared of talking to people. When you do go and approach girls, you're more likely to let out your true charisma and they're more likely to enjoy it. Okay? Social momentum, like it did for me, it might persuade you to give up drinking for good and just live a healthier lifestyle. It's just awesome. Give it a try. Use the tips in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Smash the like button. Leave a comment, do all of those good YouTube things. This really motivates us to make more videos for you guys. My name's Joe, and I'll speak to you real soon.